we are on the last part of the question. Example 6, name limiter. So that is the step 5 and step 6. Step 5 talks about calculating our optimal production plan, which, like I said, the most profitable production plan. And step 6 is talking about our profitability statement after determining our production plan. Okay, so how should we go about with this? Okay, so the first thing is we have to determine which product do we produce first based on our contribution per scarce resource. We have done our calculation. Our calculation says that even though product M has got more contribution per unit, look at it, product M has got what? 24 pounds per unit of contribution, whilst N has 15 pounds per unit. But when you look at it, our problem is not the unit. Our problem is the machine hours, which is our scarce resource. So therefore, we should do our optimal production plan based on our contribution per scarce resource. That's why we calculated our contribution per scarce resource, which is our contribution per hour. Okay, this will be used to determine which product we should produce first. Okay, this should determine which product we should produce first. Look at it. Product M, as you can see, has got what? 24 pounds per unit of contribution. Product N has got what? 15 pounds per unit of contribution. But when you look at the scarce resource, product N uses 8 hours. 8 hours to produce 1 unit of M. So it takes 8 hours to produce 1 unit of M. Look at product N. It takes only 3 hours to produce 1 unit of product N. Okay, so that means it takes more than 2.5 times to produce 1 unit of N, okay, compared to production of M. So that means it's a lot more faster to produce N than to produce M. So this is the more reason why when you look at the contribution per unit, when you look at the contribution per hour, even though M has got a higher contribution per unit, but then because M takes long time to produce 1 unit, because of that, it is a lot more efficient to produce N because it takes a lower time. Okay, because it takes a lower time, it has got a higher contribution per hour. Do you understand the logic behind this? Do you understand the logic behind this?
Yes, Mr. Fugona.
Okay, so this is the reason why we do our ranking based on the contribution per scarce resource. Okay, so now that we all agreed that we have to produce N first, so we come here and say product N. How many units of product N do we have to produce? Is it going to be part or everything?
Everything.
It's going to be everything. 500.
It's going to be everything, okay? Because we can do everything. So what is everything? What is every units for product N? What is the total units for product N? 500. So we're going to produce 500. So if we produce 500 units of product N, how many hours would that take? Total hours. How many hours?
3.
15.
Total hours.
15.
Huh? How many hours does it take to produce 1 unit of N?
3.
3. Okay, so we multiply that 3 by 500 units to get our total hours. So we say equals, since the 3 is up there already, so we don't have to go and type it. So we just say equals, we click on the 500 multiplied by the 3 hours is here. So we click, we enter. So that will be 1,500 hours.
Mr. Fofana, sorry. Mr. Fofana?
Yes? Yes?
Can't we just go to the calculation of where we have calculated the total number of hours that N has to use to produce the product, and that is to be used to produce product N? Why not we just then enter just equals to in the number of hours here and then click that 1,500?
Spot on, Hadi. Spot on. You're right. That saves our time. Yes. You're right. You're right. We can do that. We can do that. That will definitely save our time because we have already calculated. So we can say equals, correct, Hadi. Thanks for that. Then we go and click here, the total number of hours that has been calculated already. Excellent. So that's good. Okay, so we don't have to touch the profitability part yet. We're going to leave that part. So we're still on the optimal production plan. Okay, so what's the next product that we need to produce?
Product M.
Product M, because there are 2 actually. So after M, after N is going to be M. Okay, product M has got how many total units? What's the total units for product M?
600.
600, yes. So that's 600 units. That's 600 units. Can we produce everything?
No, we can't produce everything.
We cannot produce everything. Why can't we produce everything?
Because we have a limited number of hours that we can use, which is 5,000.
There you go. There you go. Excellent. Excellent. Because if we have to produce the whole of the 600 units of product M, we're going to require 4,800 hours. Do we have 4,800 hours now? Because what remains, let's in fact do our total here. Let's do our total so that we can have a balancing figure. So we can just do our total even without completing. So we say equal sum, bracket opens. So we calculate this, we close the bracket, we enter. So we can do our totals here, okay, even before we finish. Okay, right. So, so far we have 1,500, okay? So, what will be the balancing number of hours after 1,500?
3,500.
Huh?
Mr. Fofana, sorry to draw you back.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I don't mind. Yes.
Yeah, how do you have the 1,500?
How did I have the 1,500? This 1,500 here.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just trying to do a total for them, for both N and M. The total units, the total hours, and the total contribution. Okay? So I just did a formula here to get the 1,500. That's all I did. So that once you type anything here, it's going to be added automatically. So we all agreed that we cannot produce the whole of 600 units, because if we have to produce the whole of 600 units, that means we're going to require 4,800 hours. And do we have 4,800 hours available? No. The total hours available is 5,000, and we have already used 1,500 of it. So what we should do is the total number of hours available for M should be the 5,000, which is the total. In fact, we can get that also from there. We already got it here. So equals the total number of hours available. We just click on it, minus that of M. So that means we are left with only 3,500 hours, and we require 4,800 hours if we have to produce the whole 600 units of M. Can we do it? Naturally, we cannot do it. So now we have only 3,500 hours available for M. How many units would that be for M? how many units will that be for M? We are trying to work backwards now a bit. How many units will that be for M? Yes.
I think it's 437.5.
Okay, so in order to calculate the number of units, if we have to calculate the total number of hours, we are going to take what? The units here multiplied by the hours per unit. And we all know the hours per unit for M is what? Is 8. So if we have to do the opposite way, in order to get the units, is the hours, the total hours divided by the hours per unit. So which is going to be equals this, that's the total hours that remain, divided by the hours per unit. We already got it here, so we just click here, we enter. Okay, so this will give us 437.5. Is that clear? So, but this 437.5, okay, this 437.5, we cannot round it up. We can only round it down, okay, because you cannot have 0.5 of a product. If you round it up, where are you getting the extra one? Okay, so this 437.5, we'll round it down to 437. So for product M, we have to produce 437 units, whilst for product N, we're going to produce everything. Is this clear? Okay, is this clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay, so now, this is our optimal production plan. This is our optimal production plan. Our optimal production plan is saying, hey, what product do we need to produce first? What units? And how are we going to use our scarce resource to produce those units? So we know according to our ranking, we need to produce N first. And if we have to produce N first, we have to produce everything, which is 500. Okay? So the 500 units will take 1,500 of our available hours, and we'll be left with 3,500 hours of the 5,000. So that 3,500 hours is going to translate to 437 units. Simple. That's our production. That's our optimal production plan. Okay. So now we can go ahead and do our profitability statement. So our profitability statement, we're going to bring our contribution per unit. So what was our contribution per unit for N? We can fetch it here, isn't it? Our contribution per unit for N is here. And our contribution per unit for M is here. So we just link it. Okay. So that the benefit of this is if there is an error in the calculation, once you change it here, it's going to change here as well. See how beneficial spreadsheets are? Okay. So here, we want to calculate our profitability. So if we want to calculate our profitability, we cannot use our contribution per scarce resource. Our contribution per scarce resource, we are only using it to determine our optimal production plan. We are only using it to determine which product do we produce first, second, third, and so on and so forth. That's going to maximize profitability. Okay? So, but if we are calculating our profitability, the contribution we use is the contribution per unit. Is that clear? Okay. So now that we've got our products or our contribution per unit, we're going to calculate our total contribution. How do we calculate our total contribution? How do we calculate our total contribution?
We multiply the units by the contribution per unit.
we multiply the units by the contribution per unit. Why not the hours? We are using the hours. Why are we not using the hours to multiply? Simple. The contribution is not per hour, it's contribution per unit. So we're going to compare like with like. We're not going to compare apples with pears. Simple. We are using contribution per unit to multiply by units because the contribution is per unit. The contribution is not per hour. Simple. Okay? So we say equals the units multiplied by the contribution per unit. We enter and we replicate. Simple. Okay, are you following? So this one, the 437.5, we can round it down to 437. For the sake of this calculation, we have to only type 437 over it, because if we leave it there, and even if we apply the round down function, it will still multiply it by 437.5. So we just type 437, finish. Okay, the 437, and then that will give us our 10488. Like I said, we cannot say 437.5 or 438. We cannot take it up because we are talking about production units. So we can either produce 438 units, and then that's it. The calculation gives us 437.5, but 0.5 is not complete. So what is complete is 437. Okay. So we have 17,988. This will be our total contribution. Okay, so this will be our total contribution. So we can change this to, we can format this to financial and to 0 decimal place. You know how to do that? Okay, can we move? Are we making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So now, in order to calculate our profits, what is missing here? Something is missing in order to arrive at our profit. And what is that?
The fixed cost.
The fixed cost, exactly. So we calculate our fixed cost. So what is our fixed cost? Our fixed cost is also given per unit, isn't it? So we still have to calculate it according to that. So how should we calculate our fixed cost?
Our fixed cost per unit for M is 10, whilst for N is 8. So we multiply it by the number of the budgeted units.
Okay, so tell us how should we should multiply what by what? For M, what should we?
For M, we should multiply 10 by 437.
For M, we should multiply 10 by 437.
And then for N, 8 by 500.
8 by 500. Do you agree to that, class? Do you?
No, I think the budgeted number of units was already given in the question. So we have the number 12 at 600 and 500.
600 and 500.
500, yes.
No, but we have 437 units for M. So why can't we multiply by 437? Why? Hey. Don't forget what you learned. Who said we should multiply by 437? Was it Marmalade?
No, but I guess like the 437 was the contribution. was for the contribution, calculation for the contribution hours. But the 600 is the total budgeted sales given in the question.
Okay, so which one is correct? Should we multiply by 437 or we should multiply by 600?
We should multiply by 600.
Why? But we had 437. Why should we multiply by 600?
But 600 is the actual number of budgeted units.
We should by 600.
Okay, so tell me why.
We are dealing with.
Tell me why.
Mr. Fofana,
Because
Yes.
I think it's because it's fixed. So
Because?
the budgeted, because the cost is fixed, so the budgeted sales, the units should not also change. It should be fixed.
Because it's fixed. Okay, that's a good one.
yeah, Mr. Van, I think it's right because fixed cost doesn't vary in any activity level. So because
It
of
does
the
not vary. It does not vary with the activity level. That's the key. Mariama Kamara, you seem to be enjoying your tree. Are you following us? She's under the tree instead. Mariama, are you following us? Hello, Mariama. Is that where you get good network or what? Hello, Mariama. Okay, maybe she's not with us. The video is on, and I saw that she's on a tree, but maybe she's not getting us right. Right. So yeah, correct. The answer is very, very simple, and we all know the definition of fixed cost is that it does not change with activity level. Our activity level here is the units. So if units change, it does not affect fixed cost. So the fixed costs that have been determined is going to be the same fixed cost. Okay, so we cannot say because the units will be 430, we use that. No. So it's going to be the original budgeted fixed cost. So correct. So we're going to, so I'm going to put a formula here. So we're going to say equals, bracket opens. The first one is what? 10. Okay, 10 for M multiplied by 600. We close the bracket, we say plus 8. So we open the bracket again. 8 multiplied by what? 500, yeah? We close the bracket. Okay? We enter. So that gives you 10,000. So look at it. This is the formula we put there. 10 multiplied by 600 plus 6 multiplied plus 8 multiplied by 500. We make sure we follow the BODMAS principle. Okay? Can you see it here? So that's the working. So we have the fixed cost. Now what will be our profit? So our total profit shall be the total contribution minus the fixed cost, which gives us 7,988. Okay, 7,988. Is that clear, everybody? Is that clear, everybody?
yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it is.
Okay, excellent. So if that is clear, then let's move to the B part of the question. We're going to move to the B part of the question. Okay. Today you have to forgive me.